Hello there, football fans. It is Friday, September 22nd. I'm Kevin Carroll. He's Joe Soprano, and we're TLSportsBetting.com, your one-stop shop for the best promo codes, insight, and analysis. Everything you need to get ready for a big college football and pro football weekend. And boy, do we have a
Yeah.
big college football and pro football weekend coming up.
Oh, it's a huge one, both professionally and especially big weekend. And a lot of matched rank ups in the college ranks this week.
Yeah, I believe we have 6 top 25 college games on Saturday, so naturally my picks won't touch a single one of them. I don't know about you. Do you have any of the ranked games? You might want to lead these guys in with something
I do have
tasty.
one of the ranked
All
games,
right,
Colorado and Oregon. It's
there you go.
uh, a Big 12, Big 10 showdown. Well, at least it will be next year. It's still
Classic Big Ten matchup.
it's
Yeah.
still a Pac 12 game this year. Oregon's giving 21 points. That's a lot of points, but I'm thinking Prime's magical run for the first week part of the season ends this week. I think he's going to get beat. He's going to get beat badly. I think he'll be competitive for a while, but Oregon just has too much firepower. Colorado's thin in defense, especially with Travis Hunter out. I don't think they'll miss him much on offense because that offense has got a lot of talent on it, starting with Deion's son at quarterback, who's a marvelous player. I think he's going to be in New York for the Heisman, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Oregon for 4 quarters. I think it'll be competitive for a while, and Oregon is just going to pull away at the end. I see them covering this. Maybe not as easy as I see some other teams covering things, but I think they'll win by 21. I don't think it'll be a problem for them. I think that's a pretty safe bet for you.
All right, now I'm going to go to Texas. Or actually, no, this game is in South Florida. Rice. I'm a big fan of Rice. Everyone likes Rice. I think the Rice Owls we're talking about here, they are 2.5-point road favorites at South Florida at 4 p.m. on Saturday. ESPNU if you're looking to watch it. I know everyone's going to watch this and think, well, we just watched South Florida take Alabama to the limit. Well, how are you going to go against them next week? I watched that game, and I think if you're going to take anything from what South Florida and Alabama did last week, I think it was maybe more of an indictment on Alabama than it is a big thing for South Florida. Realistically, I think it's just one of those weird things that happens in college football sometimes. South Florida is not going to play up to that level probably ever again this year. As for Rice, they're 3-0, they're 3-0, or they're 2-1, they're 3-0 against the spread, and they beat Houston at Houston outright as 7-point underdogs. What really intrigues me about this Rice team is that they've got some serious Power 5 talent in their starting offense. Luke McCaffrey, brother of Christian, son of Ed, playing a wide receiver, transferred in from Nebraska. He's having a good year. I believe he's got 4 touchdown catches this year. And JT Daniels plays quarterback for this team. If you're a college football fan, you might remember JT Daniels from USC, and then from Georgia, and then from West Virginia. Now he's here at Rice. I think maybe he's finally found a place that fits for him. It's probably not the career he anticipated having.
Didn't he play at Kings and Wilkes for a couple of years?
He played at Kings, Wilkes, Misericordia, and SUNY Brockport.
Yeah. SUNY.
But yeah, I think JT Daniels is having a great year. I think he's finally found a place where he fits in, and he's obviously he was a 5-star recruit, one of the biggest recruits in the country coming out of high school. He's clearly got the talent. So I really look at that offense. I think they're going to be able to run up and down the field. They're not going to be able to South Florida's defense isn't going to be able to hold them up much. I know, last week was weird. I know we were all rooting for South Florida last week, but last week was last week. I'm not rooting for them anymore. Rice covers.
Well, I'm going to stay in the college ranks.
All right.
And I think this is I'm surprised the line on this one is as low as it is. You got North Carolina traveling to Pitt. North Carolina is a 7.5-point favorite. I don't see any way Pitt stays in the game with this team. Pitt's offense is pathetic. And you got to remember, this is the smartest guy in college football. Oh, wait, no, I got that wrong. I'm sorry. This is the team coached by the dumbest guy in college football who thinks he's the smartest guy. This is the guy who's going on all summer about how his team runs a pro-style offense. His offense is so much heads and shoulders above Penn State, a team now that's scored 30 points in 10 straight games, which is a leading NCAA football. This team was pathetic last week against West Virginia. I don't see them being able to compete with Derek May in North Carolina. I see North Carolina covering this one easy. The Panthers are going to go down hard. And you got to wonder, if they lose this game, is the seat going to start getting a little hot under Nardozzi's buttocks?
Pat Narduzzi must have kicked you in the shins at some point. Jesus.
Yeah. I just call him like I see him. I mean, if Pat would like to come on the video one day and try to instruct me on how I'm wrong, I'd be more than welcome to have him.
To be fair, I kind of agree with that pick. Having bet against Pitt last week and seeing what they bring, I'm not a big fan of them this year. I'm going to stay in college as well. South Alabama at home. They're 16.5-point favorites against Central Michigan. That game's at 5 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Central Michigan coming off a loss to Notre Dame that was a little bit closer than the 41-17 final suggested, but I think that was a classic case of just getting up for a big game. Now they have to go down to Alabama. They have to face a South Alabama team that is coming off a huge win. They beat Oklahoma State in Stillwater 33-7. It was not even close. South Alabama is peaking at the right time. They won 10 games last year, and they bring a lot of firepower back from that team last year, including their starting running back, LaDamian. I thought I had his last name written down. He's got a couple of touchdowns. Carter Bradley in at quarterback. He threw for a couple hundred yards against them last year. They beat them by 14 at Central Michigan last year. I think it'll be even easier for them this year. Central Michigan's an offense that's not really had a lot of success defensively. They've had struggles. They're 1-2 this year, but their one win was against New Hampshire, which is an FCS team, and they needed to win on a game-winning field goal to beat them. So I'm thinking South Alabama rolls through this one, 16.5 points. You can get it at 16 points if you go now on DraftKings. If you're a little worried about that half point and you want to buy it down, you can get it at 16 on DraftKings, 16.5 everywhere else. I'm pretty confident in 16.5.
Well, I'm going to move to the NFL.
All right.
Big weekend in the NFL. I'm going to start with New England and New York, or an AFC East rather matchup. Always a fun matchup. There's a lot of hostility between those two fan bases, and I believe between those two organizations. New England is a 2.5-point favorite, and I think they'll cover that easily. I really got to question where the Jets' psyche as a team is right now. They lose Aaron Rodgers. They get that big win on opening day, but then they turn around. They really got embarrassed last week by the Giants. They weren't competitive, or I'm sorry, by the Cowboys. They weren't competitive, and I really have to wonder where that team psyche is. I think that this may be the beginning of a long slide for the Jets. And New England was competitive in its first two games, lost them both, but very competitive, had shots at both of them. Crazy play that ended that last game, if you saw the pass to Gesicki, who then lateraled it to an offensive lineman. It looked to me like he had the first down, should have kept the drive going.
Yeah, I did see that.
It was bang, bang play, like they say in baseball. I expect New England to get their first win here, and they'll certainly cover the 2.5.
I'm going to briefly touch on one more college game before I get to my pro pick of the week. I hate this. It's like famous last words, very dangerous thing when you're kind of someone like me who's a little cold, but I love the College Board this week. Real quick, the over 43.5 in the Wyoming-Appalachian State game. All you need to know is that Appalachian State's averaging 40 points a game on their own, and they're not play. This is not the best team they'll play. They played North Carolina. They played East Carolina, who's pretty good. And now they got to go to Wyoming. It's a long road trip for sure, but they're averaging 40 a game. And Wyoming, in their two wins, they lost to Texas, but they beat Texas Tech, and they were averaging 33 a game in those two wins. I think the numbers don't lie, and they spell over for the fans of the Wyoming and App State football teams. I think you like the over 43.5 there. And my NFL pick, I'm going to try to hit one this week. I haven't hit one yet for these videos, for my columns that you can read in Friday's paper. I like the Dolphins minus 6.5. They are at home against the Denver Broncos. The Dolphins are like the talk of the league. They're video game-like offense. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, so good as their top two wideouts. Tua Tagovailoa is playing really well too. I know everyone's got their opinions on Tua. I've been a ride or die Tua guy since he got drafted. So I'm very very happy with this. I also have a Dolphins Super Bowl ticket, so I have a little bit of extra incentive for them to do well. But I just think that they're a better offense. They're going to be able to score. Denver is 0-2. They have not covered the spread as a favorite twice. They were favored in both their losses, and they played both those games at home. Now they have to go to Miami. I don't like that for them. I think that Denver is. It's weird. Like last year was such a bad year for them that it almost looks like they're doing better because they're playing closer. But they played the Raiders and the Commanders. Neither team is a standout squad. So I think that Denver's really got this one. I think Denver's really going to have to struggle to find points in this one. I like Miami.
I've got one more pick in the NFL. After you rake in all your winnings on my earlier picks from the week, you can take all that money and you could put it on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting 4.5 at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a weird game. I really think the Eagles are a head and shoulders better team than Tampa Bay. They haven't played that way yet this year. They're going to have to show me at some point that they could play up to the level they played at last year. I don't know what their problem is. They've been letting teams crawl back into the games with them the first 2 weeks of the season. You keep doing that, sooner or later it's going to come back to bite you in the butt. I don't know that Tampa Bay wins outright, but I think it's a close game. It's certainly going to be closer than 4.5 points, and I think Tampa Bay is the play there.
All right. I think we'll wrap it up there. And folks, if you are looking for more analysis, more previews, more predictions, especially as it pertains to Notre Dame, who's at home against Ohio State, Penn State's at home against Iowa. If you're looking for more information on those games, you head here at tlsportsbetting.com. We've got you covered, everything you might need to know for that game, for those games, and for every game. For if you're looking for lines, you're looking for predictions, analysis, insights, tlsportsbetting.com is the place to go. So head on over there. The minute you wrap up this video, you head on over there, you get signed up, and you get in the game. That's all for now.
You do
folks.
that all on your computer.
You can do that all on your computer. It is the digital age. We love it. We love it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and good luck this weekend.